Welcome in. It is day 104, and you're speaking with the Meeples Champion. And today is October 22nd, and we're going over yet again another Halloween-themed or adjacent type game. We're going to jump right into this one. This is a co-op, or semi-co-op, I should say. It's one that I played years ago. I just recently played it again, and wasn't excited to play it again, and turns out I should have been, because I had a great time. This game is Betrayal at House on the Hill. Now, in this game, the concept is that you kind of have two halves of the game. The first half is you beginning in the base house, you're slowly all moving out together in different directions, you're finding new rooms, you're trying to find the basement, trying to find the attic, you're slowly gathering items and points and finding things that you might have to face, and eventually, when you've done enough, you cause the actual reveal of what it is that your scenario is. Not only is the scenario at random, but the person that it may or may not be affecting. Most of the scenarios will cause there to be somebody that's the betrayer. Suddenly, your group is no longer a full group. Somebody is a traitor in the group, and they're working with the villains. Or, potentially, it could be all of you are still together, or it could be that you're all facing each other. In the case of my group, the first game we played turned out to be that we were all after treasure, and we were all in a situation of who can get the treasures and get out first, and whoever did it won, and so it was just a free-for-all. And then the next game, one of us ended up becoming working with a very large demon and multiple smaller demons he was working with, and we had to work our way through trying to kill everybody off to be able to finally wipe them out and survive. Both very different, but very fun. So why don't we jump in, talk about our 7 categories, and see where this game really ranks for us. The art of this game is tremendous, in my opinion. I am not normally somebody who would expect that this much green on a box would sell me. And you may not normally put green as a color with the, Halloween and October. You tend to go with the classics, orange, a little bit of black, and obviously red. But when you think about it, the Frankenstein green, the green of the skin of most of the witches and a lot of the cartoons when you're growing up, it does fit. And it definitely sold me. When I saw the box, I immediately was like, yeah, I feel it. I feel Halloween. And when you pull everything out from in this box, it still sells that. It's just so well-themed and dark, but fun. I really think they did a good job on this. It was very well done. Big thumbs up. The components are pretty straightforward. I mean, you have your individual rooms, which are all large cardboard pieces that go down. You have your individual characters, which are the same kind of setup. And then all the little pieces that go out there, which is just primarily a bunch of cardboard. There's really not much outside of that other than just maybe the cards. I think everything is good quality. I don't feel like anything feels like it's falling apart or isn't going to last in the long term. It's a thumbs up on the components. This game, starting with availability, is everywhere. You're going to find this in your Targets and in your Best Buys and maybe even in your Walmarts. You're going to find it in probably at least 4 out of 5 stores when you go into regular stores. It's just a popular game. Never mind this time of year where it's probably every store. But normally, it's in a lot of stores anyways. And this game tends to go right around that $50 range. I think that there's a lot in this box. I think there's a lot of ability to play this because of just how much is shifting depending on number of players, who's the betrayer, what scenario you're running into. You never know. It's a big thumbs up from me. The difficulty is that this game kind of gets separated into 2 halves. The first half of the game, I think, is open for pretty much everybody. Experts, experienced, beginners, even kids, I think can all play the first half of this game, and it's very easy. You're just moving around and discovering things. It's investigation primarily. The second half of the game, where the reveal is of what the scenario, that's where it starts to get interesting. It might be tough on a kid if they end up being the traitor, because there's a lot you're doing and you really can't ask for help from anybody because you're facing everybody else. So I think that's where you might not want a kid in there. Whereas a regular beginner, I think they'll be fine if they're the traitor. They'll know enough to be able to ask questions to help them lead in a direction and understand what they can't get answers from, because people can only do so much for them. But otherwise, I feel like this game is really good for experts, really good for the experienced players, and it's not so hard that a beginner can't play it. They just, definitely they might want to play, at least watch a how-to video first, or play it a couple times in a row like I did with my group, so that second play is way more fun than the first. But overall, thumbs up on the difficulty. Replayability, I think, in my opinion, it sells itself on this. First of all, my playthrough was we played it quick and then we played it again. So we already played twice in one night, and this isn't a small game. So that was pretty impressive to get it twice in a night. And I think that it's an easy game to consider for Halloween time when you get a few friends together for a nice, a little bit longer game night type night. I think that it can be used with family, but I doubt you're going to see it as often unless the whole family's a real big gaming family. But it's not restricted to only the October month or the fall season. And because of that scenario shifting, you're never going to play the same game twice. Even if you get the same scenario, you never know who's going to be the person that's going to be representing that other side for the traitor or whatever that scenario so happens to show. So I think this has plenty of replayability. Big thumbs up. Well, your keys to victory are constantly shifting, and that's what makes the first half of the game interesting, because there is no set way to play it. There's no, this is the best, we should definitely investigate more, or we should stick together, or we should keep apart, or we shouldn't trust each other, or we should trust each other, because you never know what that second half is going to be. So that's great, because it basically means do whatever you want in the first half, and you just don't know what it's going to do. And then in the second half, once you have kind of a goal, yes, it's going to tighten up, but not in a bad way, not in a way where you don't have choice, just in a way where you're going to go, okay, now I know who I can't work with. Now I know who I can work with. Now I know what the actual goal is. I'm killing this. I'm getting that. I'm escaping here. I need to live this long. Whatever the scenario may be. And with that, you can build this new idea of where it is you're heading with these keys. So I'm going to give it a big thumbs up. Is this game unique? I do think it's unique. Now, I want to say for me, and this, I'm not giving it a thumbs up yet, so hear me out here. I think for me, the games I play, it feels very unique. But I don't play co-ops, and I don't play a lot of Halloween-themed co-ops. And I know there are a lot out there that I've had people tell me about, and that this one kind of could get bumped up against some of those. And I can't remember all their names right now, but I know enough to say I've looked at some other games and that they look very similar. I've played another game and it definitely felt very similar. And I just don't think I can, in good conscience, give it a thumbs up when I know that there's something close enough to it already and the other things that people talk about in comparison. So even though for me, I can't really think of a game that I've played straight out that I would say that's my comparable, I'm going to give it the thumbs down here. I'm not 100% sure. I think Mansions of Madness get compared to this, but I just haven't played that one before. But I know there's a bunch of games in this area, and that it tends to be you pick one of the group, and this is part of that group, from what I've been told. I need to play some more of them so I can get a really better opinion on this, but for now, I got to give it that thumbs down. Overall, what do I think of this game? I think it's fun. I think it's a game that you can play it once in a while. Again, I'm not a co-op person, so the semi-co-op worked for me, but not a game that I'm going to go jumping at very often. I don't want to play this multiple times in a year myself, but if you are a co-op fan, I think it's going to be one you will want to play. And if you're somebody like myself who tends to shy away from that, it's at least worth a play. And I think if you do play it, it does tend to be played a couple times in the same night. It's definitely great for the October season, and I think that it's one that, well, I wouldn't say just go out and buy it. I would definitely say try and see if you can get somebody who owns it to do a nice themed October month game, and then see what you think. Maybe it's something you want to add to your collection, or maybe it's just a game you want to keep in the rotation in your mind for asking to play once in a while from somebody who does own it. But that's just my opinion. It's up to you guys to get out there, try out this game as well as the other games, see what you think, and figure out if it's something you want on your shelf or not. Well, it has been day 104. We've been talking about Betrayal at House on the Hill. And you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description where I'll be adding in an Amazon link in case you want to pick up this game for your collection. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.